Test. Okay, there we go. Now you guys can. Why not have a stressful like issue right before going live? Okay. You know, I should probably update like my live picture that's on TikTok. Like that would be more professional to have a better picture on there, but no, I refuse. Let's find out if this is working or if nope, I need to restart. Sometimes third-party devices just not the best option. Like this controller up here that just turned off because I just closed down the software. Yeah, pain in the butt half the time I use it. I have to like fully restart the software after I start up OBS every time. I always have to remember that, but I didn't do it today. And now I have to wait for it to start up so I can hit the buttons on my thing. Like, it goes through so many extra steps because it doesn't like just integrate with OBS properly. It just, yeah. Okay. I need a system so I can remote into my server. And I should also grab this cable. Any tips for a gaming laptop around 800 to 1,000? A gaming laptop for that low? Most of the time, you're going to get something that is a piece of junk that's not going to last you very long. I recommend saving up to have a higher budget. My Mac is like completely off. So I need to wipe this thing down. Yeah, normally I recommend people start with a budget of around 1,200. Should be your starting budget for a gaming system. And I don't recommend gaming laptops, but if you have to go down that route, then Lenovo is the brand that I'm going to recommend. I'm going to take my laptop over here so I can set it. And then I'm going to remote into my servers. What was my first console? An NES. Yeah, gaming is expensive right now because of the AI market. Like, I like how you guys can see my D&D character sheet right now. Um, like straight up, the AI market has obliterated gaming prices so that it is not affordable in the least. And a lot of people want something that is super affordable. But right now, like, also, if you're going to get a gaming system that is for gaming, you're going to want to start with a higher budget than like $800. You want to go for a $1,200 budget because you want parts that are going to last. You want it to be able to be repaired. You want it to be able to be upgraded. How long have I worked in tech? Almost 20 years. Woo! Someone already got muted. Yay. Try again next time. What's my thoughts on 5500 X3D? I don't have any specific thoughts. I've done builds with that processor. I know at one point in time the X3D had issues, but I don't think it currently does, as far as I'm aware. I think they've resolved most of them. What is my go-to budget AM4 CPU? I actually just ordered one. Let me grab it. This is my go-to budget. This is an AMD Ryzen 5 5500. This is the budget CPU that I use. Especially because Micro Center has a good bundle with like a decent motherboard and that CPU. It works really well. Like, it's a decent CPU and it's a good one to build off of because you have the entire um our AMD platform to like build off of and upgrade from. Someone asked, should you buy the Flipper Zero if you want to get into cybersecurity and you want to tinker with stuff? Flipper Zero is a good place to start because you got a lot of different things you can tinker with in the Flipper Zero that like you would have to buy multiple different devices to do. I don't rate PCs. I'll criticize really bad builds, like visually, but can your PC run with uranium? No, it can melt down with uranium. Why is this window so big? Okay, there we go. Can the OMG cable also do things unnoticed on iOS? Yes. The OMG cable can act as a keyboard plugged into a computer or phone. And so any device that can be accessed via a keyboard, it can do stuff on. How can you get more ECC RAM for your server? Online, most stores. I usually, for stuff like that, if it's my home lab, I usually go with like eBay because I'm usually looking for the uh like used market at that point. What knowledge do I lack, Color? Okay, someone asked a Proxmox question. Where did it go? Was Proxmox a good pick for learning with your first NAS? You've heard mixed things. Proxmox is a fantastic pick for learning how to set up a virtual host. It's not really a good pick for a NAS. For something like that, I would go with. Isn't it still called TrueNAS, or did they change the name again? No, they changed the supplemental name. TrueNAS is still the one that I would go with. Find you in my system. Oh my gosh! Wow. So we just have someone that's just going to be contrarian in the chat, and that's why they say I have a lack of knowledge, and they're going to pretend that they've hacked into my system. Woo! Do I know stuff about pen testing? I used to be a pen tester. It's been a while. I need to brush up on my skills. Asus or Gigabyte? Honestly, Asus for motherboards. I don't usually trust Asus like laptops, but their motherboards are honestly good. Is burger good? I ate 2 burgers for breakfast. If the OMG cable wants to access data, it needs to open apps graphically right. Not necessarily. A lot of things, even on phones, can be done just from the keyboard. So if you know what keyboard combination press you need to get to the exact menu you want, then you're golden. Usually on phones, it's a little bit harder because there's not like easy commands or like a command prompt to run things in. On PC, it's so much easier because you have like command prompt, console, things like that. So if you can be connected via computer or via cable that acts as a keyboard, then yeah, it's a lot easier. You just need to know what buttons to hit to bring up console on like a Mac or bring up command prompt on Windows or PowerShell, depending on what type of commands you want to run. What's my go-to cheap CPU? I just showed it a second ago. The AMD 5500. Um, because especially because Micro Center has really good bundles that you can have shipped to you. That's usually my go-to when I have a customer. I literally just had a customer where like they had a CPU and motherboard that were both fried, and so I just ordered a combo kit for that one. Can you come up and ask some questions? No, you can ask them in the chat. If the chat is not long enough for you to be able to ask your questions, there is also YouTube chat and Twitch chat. YouTube and Twitch get priority access. You have a G2 on the way. Any tips? G2 what? There's a lot of different products that have G2 in the name, and so my brain is like, did I mention something that would have a G2? What have I talked about so far in this stream? Oh, scooter. Not that I can think of. Is the Flipper Zero worth it, or is there a better option? I mean, um if you're trying to learn how to use a bunch of different devices that are included in the Flipper, that's the route I would take, especially if you're at entry level pen testing and cybersecurity. You can do a lot of different things with this that you would need a lot of different devices, and this has a lot better documentation, so it's easier to learn. Um, then you slowly upgrade to other things, like especially because you can plug other stuff into this, you can learn a lot of stuff a lot easier right off the bat than going through a bunch of different products that all have their separate instructions that you have to go through multiple forms to try to learn how to use. So it used to be that like I didn't think the Flipper Zero was worth it, but I've honestly come around because of some of the questions I've gotten about like pen test education and stuff like that. I realized, oh, this is actually something that can answer those questions and people can learn from. Where can you buy RAM cheaper? Legit, please. Nowhere. RAM prices are astronomical right now. Like, if you want cheaper, you can risk going to the used market. That's what I do for some things, but there's not like a good place to get RAM right now that is cheap. Oh, dude, I was gonna just time you out for a minute as a warning, but you decided to spam again like 3 more times after as I was clicking on the mute. Um, can the Wi-Fi pineapple also crack Wi-Fi passwords? If so, uh, did I do a video on it? No. Um, well, it can, but I'm sorry, I was answering the second question first. No, I haven't done a video on it because I tend to steer away from videos on cybersecurity stuff just because of how many. I don't want to create more script kiddies. I'm gonna be so for real. because when like talking to companies about cybersecurity, the thing I recommend the most is locking down the simple things that are going to be targeted by script kiddies more, because that is usually the bigger threat. There's more script kiddies than there are professional hackers who are going to cause damage. So you need to start with the biggest problem first, and that's going to be script kiddies. And so I don't want to create more of those. Um, but the Wi-Fi pineapple can technically crack Wi-Fi passwords because there's multiple different tools that can do it. It can also help end. I don't know if there's an all-in-one solution to this, but it can help capture Wi-Fi passwords if their security is weak enough for you to actually capture the Wi-Fi password by, well, not the password, but you can capture the actual token so that you can connect to that Wi-Fi. That's about the extent. Most of the Wi-Fi cracking that this would be able to do is going to be more brute force type stuff. Um, do I see data storage continuing to increase exponentially, or are we starting to hit a wall? I don't think we've hit a wall yet, and I don't think we have one coming up like soonish, because like for one thing, we've shrunk drives down so much that we're not even at the space capacity that we used to use, like physical size capacity. And then on top of that, even the chips were not at the capacity for the chips to hold data yet. We're close to the cap for compute power on a chip, but yeah, storage I don't think we're actually close to right now. Why don't you want to use Hack the Box? Yeah, no, like glass and crystal storage are some of the ones that I've seen lately that are like, oh my gosh, that's gonna be really cool when that actually hits. Um, is there any way to erase data from a CD? Uh, if it's a rewritable one. Um, and then there are some. I don't know if I know any off the top of my head, but I know there have been DVD writers that have been able to also erase data because they just write over everything and ruin the disk. But yeah, how can you check part compatibility? PC part picker. What do I recommend? A curved or non-curved screen? Honestly, it depends on your desk setup and how close you are to the monitor, because usually for a curved screen, for you to get the decent effect, it needs to be relatively close to you. Like, it needs to be right here. My monitors are like a good 3 feet away from me most of the time, or 2 feet away, but it needs to be closer than a lot of desk setups do. It's definitely one where you need like a riser that the monitor is on so your keyboard can be underneath where your monitor is sitting usually. But it does give a very good aspect of being able to turn your head and seeing more, and also using your periphery more. Can you open security gates with the Flipper Zero using Momentum firmware? I haven't tested it on Momentum firmware, but I don't see any reason why the Momentum firmware would stop you from doing it, because mainly what you're doing is just getting the data from an NFC tag or an RFID tag, depending on what type of cards they're using, and then just copying it and giving out the same signal that card would already give out. So, yeah. I have, like, when I've worked IT, I have used this to store my actual pass cards to get into different buildings and things like that. That way it was all in one thing and I didn't have to carry it. Or if I was on a job site with multiple different IT technicians and they only gave us one card, I would clone it onto this. I use the default firmware just because most of the time I like the features of the default firmware. I have used Momentum. What's the other one that I use? I can't think of the other one off the top of my head. Momentum is pretty good. Yeah, I just prefer the default firmware. I don't see a need to switch over to anything else for what I do. Is the Apple MacBook Neo good for editing? From everything I have seen, the MacBook Neo is really good for editing. Like I've seen multiple videos where people have it editing video in like DaVinci Resolve, or I haven't seen anyone doing it in Premiere because I don't think a lot of people use Premiere anymore. But I've seen people doing CapCut and DaVinci Resolve while they've had like multiple 4K videos running in the background. And it's just like gone with it, like not really had an issue. So I figure it's fairly good for video editing. I use my M1 MacBook, which is fairly old at this point, but still really good. Can I give you a price for first PC? Usually the budget I recommend people use for their first PC is around 1200 right now, because you want a computer that is upgradable, repairable, and has good specs to start out with, because you want like the motherboard to be a decent motherboard. I recommend the AMD platform because then you have a lot more CPUs to pick from, and you can use a lower end CPU to start with and then later on upgrade to a better CPU, um and things like that. Like, yeah, the AMD platform is the one that I go with, and also 1200. Yeah, that's a good starting point. How to make Internet Jammer? You don't, because it's federally illegal. You have a 4070 laptop. Should you buy a ROG 240 hertz OLED monitor? I have no clue. That one is a personal preference type thing, in my opinion. Like, I've seen monitors that are 144 hertz. They're fairly nice. Like, there's sometimes I'm just like, oh, that'd be really nice to use. But like, for a computer, I'm either like, most of the games I play like strategy games mostly. And so like high refresh rate isn't helping me in that. And then like most of the time I'm like reading documentation or working on videos and things like that. High refresh rate isn't helping me in most of my day-to-day life. And so, yeah. I like how many hacking questions I'm getting now. No, I'm not going to teach you guys how to hack stuff. Fee-Find microphones all the way. I've used both Razer microphones and Fee-Find microphones. Fee-Find is my pick. Um, if I upgrade my setup, I might pick up. So I'm thinking of picking up two different things for two very different setups. For one thing, I'm thinking of getting the Fee-Find kit to have at this desk when I'm doing stuff like this, and then I'm also planning on getting um Elgato's like what's that thing called? Their like microphone input system. What's the best editing app for Windows? DaVinci Resolve. Hands down, DaVinci Resolve. You recently installed a new CPU and Mobo. Your Wi-Fi just suddenly dipped. By chance, do I know a fix for it? What type of Wi-Fi are you using on your system? Like, is it a USB dongle? Is it like the motherboard, or is it um like an expansion card plugged into the motherboard? What is a GPU? A GPU is the graphics processing unit. That is what handles all of your graphics processing for your computer, like displaying on screens, running multiple monitors, and then when you're gaming, the graphics for games go through the GPU instead of the CPU. That way, your CPU can worry more about the actual calculations than the graphics. MOBA with antenna. Are the antennas on, like, is it the type of antenna that has a long cable so you can put the antenna on top of your computer, or are the antennas just on the back of the computer coming out of the motherboard? Because if they're just coming out of the motherboard on the back of the computer, you need to see if you can get an antenna to put on top of your computer or higher so that it's not being blocked by the actual case of the computer. When do I think the Flipper 1 is going to release? Probably not for like a year and a half, based off of what I've seen so far. On top of the PC, is there anything else metal around it? Because usually the only reason an antenna like that would have Wi-Fi issues is because it's being blocked by the case or something else nearby, and it doesn't have like good signal strength to your actual wireless access point. How often should you replace the thermal paste on a gaming laptop? Usually, my recommendation is, now my brain is blanking on me. For laptops, I recommend roughly every 5 years, give or take 2 years, based off of use. If you don't use it a ton, then go out to 7 years. If you use it a ton, I mean, I don't highly recommend every 3 years, but yeah, usually the thing you're going to look for is if the thermals are drastically bad and you've already cleaned it out and checked the fans to make sure the fans are working properly. It might be that your desk is giving it too much interference. I would recommend trying to move it away from anything that is large and metal and see if that gives you better Wi-Fi signal. Is it the same exact antenna that you're using? You got to reset your PC because it starts command prompt for a split second at startup. Why do you need to reset your PC? There are, like, it's most likely you have a program in your startup programs that is doing that. And so, like, usually antivirus or, like, I mean, Steam even does it sometimes. Depending on like updates and things like that, Steam will pop up a command prompt for a split second because oftentimes it's programs trying to give themselves elevated permissions to do updates and things like that. That's most of the time what um the split second command prompt popping up on your computer is. Okay, since you're using the same exact antenna, did did the new motherboard come with the same exact antenna that you were using before, or is it the one from your previous motherboard? No, command prompts popping up at the beginning, like when you first log into Windows, isn't like could be a virus, but it's not likely going to be a virus. It's more likely going to be software trying to run something. You've been using a gaming laptop for 3 years, and you've recently cleaned all the fans and have checked that they're working properly. And the CPU temperatures are 85 to 90 when gaming. Okay, at that point, you may want to replace the thermal paste and also check the thermal pads. Um, Easiest way to replace the thermal pads if you have to go that route is thermal putty. Um, I want to say Salem Techsperts just did a video showing a laptop that was having thermal issues and used thermal putty to replace the thermal pads. I normally use thermal pads, but I've been slowly going over to thermal putty as I've run out of the different thermal pads that I need. Um, Someone asked, their screen is acting more sluggish and slow than usual. I don't know what you mean by that. Like, what do you mean your screen is acting sluggish and slow? Like programs are slow to respond, or the frame rate feels lower than normal on your screen? Should you build a DIY flipper for cheaper than the normal flipper? If you want to, you can. I recommend the normal flipper if you're trying to learn, because there's more documentation for the regular flipper than most of the other options out there. Okay, how bad is your Wi-Fi right now with that antenna? Because I think I know what's going on. Like frames and response feel works. Double check your thermals on your GPU, because I like if you're feeling like frames are lower, that's usually like a GPU overheating or getting warmer, and like so the GPU gets warmer, then it kicks on the fan, but like it'll stutter for a split second because the fan's just kicked in to cool it down. Why is this hard drive giving you anxiety? Look, I can spin the hard drive. Look, I can make it spin. I can also take the arm and make it move back and forth. Are the Meta Ray-Ban displays worth it? If you want to be called a creep and seem like a douchebag, yeah, they're worth it. Someone says, remember me, bro. I have no clue who you are. I talk to like dozens of people every stream, so yeah, no problem. Glad I could help. Hopefully it is thermals, because if it's thermals, that's usually easy to fix. Like, just make sure your system has better like airflow. How would you make a VCR play tapes backwards? There's some VCRs that do that by default. Um, you just need like it's usually just like higher end VCRs, which at this point, like if you're going to have a VCR, you should be looking for a higher end one than a low end one, because most of the low end ones have already reached like their lifespan of what they would be rated for. So the reason I ask you about the antenna is I've seen this happen quite frequently. What did that come off of? So it's probably not going to focus on it. Oh, look, it focused a little bit. See how there's that little pin in the antenna right there? And then on the plug right there for the antenna. And on this one, there's a little hole that pin goes in. Some mounts for antennas will have a hole, and the antenna will have a pin. And this thing you're talking about right now makes me feel like when people take an antenna that has a hole and plug it into a, a screw that has a hole at the center of it too. You can get some signal, but you get really, really bad signal because it's not properly using the antenna. I would double check that. The other thing I would double check is driver conflict. It might be a weird driver that you're using, especially if you're having packet loss. Oh, yeah. I have a lot of RAM. I need to sort through all of my RAM. You're building a drone PCB. What do I recommend for drone type FP? I do not know drones that well. Like, I think it's been, let's see, what year is it right now? It's 2026. It's probably been about 4 years since I've done anything on drones. What are my thoughts on the Flipper 1? I mean, we are still a long way off from the Flipper 1 being something that is out. And so I don't know what it's going to be like when it comes out. How do I port forward every single every like every router is going to have a different way to do port forwarding. You're going to have to look up your router and a guide for port forwarding for your specific router. Do people not think I'm serious about the fact that it says if you spam, I mute? Check your story. I'm live right now. How would I check your story? What's my reaction to people bending CPU pins on purpose? It hurts my soul, and my partner sends me countless videos of it just to cause me pain. Okay, at that point, I would try moving the antenna different places and seeing if it's just something weird is causing uh, signal loss. Because usually at that point, if you've checked everything else, then it's most likely it's just not getting good enough signal, and that's what would be causing it. Trying to track down stuff like that is always fun. Usually, opening up like command prompts and having it do continuous pings so that you can see when things time out as you slowly move it around and find where the dead zones are. You want to change the thermal paste on your GPU. Why? I I do not recommend changing the thermal paste on your GPU unless it's an extremely old GPU, because changing the thermal paste on your GPU is a lot more intensive than changing the thermal paste on your actual CPU. And like, you're going to have to usually replace pads that are cooling the other components on your GPU, and it can lead to a lot of issues if not done exactly right. A 4060 with only a fan. What do you mean? Like, which 4060 is it? Nomad, to check like how the signal is. Um in command prompt there is a command called ping. Ping. You do if you do let me pull it up. Where's my keyboard? Oh, keyboard's not on. So, if you do something like this where you type in ping space google.com space dash t, it'll start doing a ping test that is continuous like this. So that way you can actually see if it drops packets or anything like that during the ping test, and you can just move the antenna around and you'll see, like, it'll most likely be delayed, a very delayed reaction from when you move it to a new spot, but it will show you where things are. You just have to have patience and slowly move it around, and you can see drop packets that way fairly easily. There's other tools that can do it, but this is usually what I rely on just because it's quick, easy, and just on every computer by default. Is this Beard Simulator? No. It's Beard Demonstrations. What brand, like, what specific card do you have? Because there's multiple different brands that sell the 4060. You didn't put the paste stuff on your computer, is that okay? No, that's going to cause it to cook and fry. Your computer will not work properly if you do not put thermal paste between the CPU and the heatsink. Replace the 1050 with a 1080. Not at this point. The 1080 is, I have phased out from, like, the only computer I have that is running a 1080 or anything from that generation at this point is my streaming system, because it doesn't need a high end or a decent card. You're getting a computer with a 50, 70, and 32 gigs of RAM? Yeah, that's good. Would I recommend a MacBook Pro or a Windows laptop for uni? It depends on what you are studying. Um, there are drawbacks of the Mac because repairability is still way down. So if anything goes wrong, trying to get it fixed is going to be harder. But things go wrong less on Mac when you're in university than they do on Windows. Like, because of how the Mac is constructed, it can be in your bag. I still recommend having a decent case like this, but it can be in your bag and it can take like an actual drop of your bag from a few inches, where most like Windows laptops can't really take that hit as easily. They start developing microfractures, so when you open and close it a ton, those microfractures just split and the hinge comes loose and starts breaking other stuff. Um, but yeah, it completely depends on what you're studying. If what you're studying is able to be done on a Mac, usually I would recommend a Mac for university at this point, especially with the MacBook Neo out. Honestly, you like, I can't, like, even though the price point has gone up, I can't really beat that price point. Yeah, Nomad, it's going to be a lengthy process, like, no joke, but it will tell you some of the better places to put your antenna, and that should help. Um, there's frequent times, like, I rarely use Wi-Fi at this point when it comes to desktops, but when I've done it, I make sure I know, like, where the wires are in the wall so that I can better have a computer that has reception. I'm going to plug in a fan really quick, you guys. So give me a second, and then I'll get back to answering questions. No. Because I don't want to have the AC on while I'm streaming right now, because that is loud, so I talk louder. Now I want Little Caesars. I need to eat through the rest of the barbecue I have from yesterday. I threw a barbecue yesterday. We did hamburgers and hot dogs. Very cheap barbecue. How can you secure your hosting? One of the are you using Cloudflare? Yeah, Cloudflare at all? I started saying it and my brain went, "That's not right." I'm like, "No, no, that one is." Um, how much better are XLR microphones compared to USB microphones, and what makes XLR special? Um, fairly decently better. How to describe what makes them different? Like, especially nowadays, there's not a lot of things that differentiate them. It's just XLR. You can usually you're getting an analog signal where USB you're getting more of a digital signal, and you want that more like original signal as close to your system as possible. That's why like you have the soundboard at your system with the XLR coming into it. How do I describe it? I've never actually had to describe like the difference between the two. Like we're honestly at a point where there's not a ton of difference. You see a lot of microphones out there now that have both XLR and USB, but honestly, Cloudflare would be my only tip for your hosting. I do not self-host anymore just because it's a headache to do the security at this point. Um, yeah, and XLR makes things a lot simpler. Exactly. Um, I mentioned cables in the wall. Does sometimes it connect better when it's further from the router? No, the reason I mentioned like wires in the wall is like if you put it near a power line, you get a little bit of a dip because there's interference from the electrical signals in the power line. It's not a ton, but I still prefer not being right next to them with Wi-Fi. What's my favorite thing on my shelf? Am I familiar with mesh tack stick devices? Yeah, a little bit. I haven't done a ton with them. I need to. I'm saying a lot today. I'm tired from yesterday. I don't have any other tips beyond Cloudflare, like Flare, like I said. I shy away from hosting stuff myself that is publicly visible because it's a pain in the ass for security reasons. What is my favorite thing on my shelf right now? Oh, I know. Both of these. Both of my DeLoreans are my favorite things on the shelf. I have the big one and I have the small one. I'm kind of glad I don't have the original Lego one that they did because it did not look that great, in my opinion. So I'm guessing you're using the 4060 Storm X because you said it only has one fan. Honestly, there's no like from what I'm seeing on here, there's no issue with that single fan. What's the reason that you think you need to swap out your thermal paste? Is it actually getting thermals that are outside of the normal spec? What do I think of Hack Five's new product, the Shark Jack display? I haven't actually looked at that one yet. I know they just didn't they release it like a month ago or something like that? Let me actually look at it right now. Um, how am I doing it this way? Why don't I just do it this way so you guys can see as well? Oh, I have seen a little bit about this. Okay. Okay, I kind of like that as long as like what can you actually do with the display? Give me more info. Oh, wait. Okay. Wait a second. So you can actually change what it's doing. Where give me pictures that show me it's a USB port. How do you interact with the menu? Oh, oh, I actually really like that. Okay. I really like that. I kind of want one now. Um, because like the fact that it's that type of button on the side, you can like with that type of button, if you guys don't know, let me see if I can have most commonly I have them on these type of displays. So it is this button on the side right here. You can go up, you can go down, and then you can press it in to select. And honestly, I really like that type of button because it gives you a lot of controls in a very small form factor. I don't know what the endurance on that type of button is, but the fact that the Shark Jack uses that, that is like that's all the control you really need from that because most of the time you're going to be programming it using something and you're just going through like which script am I going to use, which like info am I going to grab, things like that. I also like that they have um the clear version, like the old school plastic clear version, which is kind of what I was going for with this backdrop that you see behind me. The fact you can see electrical circuits, but it's a little bit blurry, that's kind of the feel I was going for. The thing I want to know, okay, you can actually, this right here makes me think that you can have the display give you information as it's running scripts, which that's phenomenal. Um, because like knowing where your script is in the process, really nice, really helpful, really useful. And they still kept the RGB LED on the RJ45, which is nice. And okay, that also makes me very happy that it's a serviceable battery. Is that just like a coin cell battery? Okay, that makes me really happy. Okay, how the heck does it use Ducky script? Like, how are you using Ducky script with a network jack like that? You're currently rocking a 3080 and it's your current bottleneck. You want your GPU to be your bottleneck. And also, if you're rocking a 3080, what are you like? What would be your goal in upgrading at this point? Because a 3080 is still very decent in this day and age. It's highly doubtful that the thermal paste is an issue in your GPU. Like, gonna be honest. Usually, if the thermal paste is going to be an issue, you're going to like what you're describing doesn't make me think thermal paste. I'm gonna be so for real because it is astronomically rare that you will ever need to swap out the thermal paste on a GPU. This one is a very lightweight, small profile GPU. It's not a low profile. It's a like it's a the revision of the 4060, so it's shorter instead of the full length GPU. Like, yes, those don't have the perfect cooling. Usually with that, you still want the two fan one, but yeah. What's the best thing similar to the Flipper Zero but cheaper? What is the use case? Like, what exactly are you wanting to get done? Because the Flipper Zero is my recommendation for that type of device, but like there's cheaper options out there, but I don't recommend them because documentation is not as good on those devices. Do I know Ben? Ben is one of the most common names. I'd be shocked to find someone in the US who doesn't know someone named Ben. Ever thought about making videos teaching people how to understand and use payload devices? I've thought about it. It's one of those things I tend to shy away from in videos, and I think it's mostly because TikTok made me shy away from them. I used to do more short form videos where I talked about cybersecurity stuff, but TikTok got upset with me. Um, and so I kind of shy away from that. But because I'm making the push for YouTube more and more, if I get to a certain point on YouTube, then yeah, I will 100% talk about um, different devices to do really fun payloads. Like I will talk about bad USB on the Flipper. I will talk about Ducky, rubber duckies and Ducky script. I'll even look into the Shark Jack. So that's only 120. So yeah. Ooh. Okay, why does the Shark Jack with display not have a web interface? Or like the web interface for arming? That's weird. Custom PCB for a JBOD server. I'm like for something like that, I wouldn't trust a custom PCB like that I customized. Talk about the Hack RF1. What about it? Can you hack a DJI Mavic 2 Pro? I don't know the security on those, but like usually for drones, it's easier to just like figure out their Wi-Fi and run a DOF attack. Someone said, I have a question. Which would be better to train at? Oh, I'm not even going to bother with the rest of that because it's for AI. Can you overclock an Intel lock CPU like non? So an Intel CPU that isn't one of the K CPUs? I I don't think you can. You're not supposed to be able to, and I wouldn't recommend trying. They have an entire type of CPU specifically for overclocking. Yeah, I love the Logitech keyboard. I have like three of them. Is 5600 and the 1080 Ti is so someone asked if the R5 5600 and GTX 1080 Ti a good combo for potato games, I would go with, for one thing, I would go with an AMD GPU because I'm using an AMD processor. They're going to work better together. And then also on top of that, like, you want a better GPU than the 1080 Ti at this point. Windows or Mint? Windows. Like, honestly. How to fix targets. Randomly walk around plugging things in and hitting them with a rubber mallet until it works. I learned that from the 10th Doctor. Yeah, I also use Linux Mint, but I don't daily drive Linux at this point. I've run into too many times when I've needed my computer to work, and Linux is just like, hey, today we're just not going to boot. You get to spend the next 12 hours trying to figure out why it's not booting. Your audio interface is bugging out every time your CPU gets over 90% usage. Why? Because your computer can't process stuff. And so, like, it requires the CPU to be able to help process stuff for it. So that's why it's bugging out. I would recommend not running as much stuff while you're using it, or upgrade your processor if you can. Would I build a PC with the current component prices? Only if I was doing used parts at this point. Me, myself, I do not like building computers right now. I have had to build some for customers, and yeah, it sucks. Have I ever tried to use Kali? I used to use Kali a lot, and then I switched over to Parrot OS Security Edition. What the heck just happened on TikTok? Uh, TikTok just like ended my live stream. Oh, TikTok claimed I was inactive. Are you kidding me, TikTok, with this BS? TikTok has now changed to, yeah, my speakers are working perfectly fine. TikTok no longer gives me an audio alert when it pops up the thing telling me to swipe it to make TikTok keep working. How can you use the Raspberry Pi for your processing, but the keyboard, trackpad, and screen of the laptop? You can't really do it with a laptop. You would need a lot of like adapters that would make those different parts of a laptop work. There are some um devices that aren't really laptops, but they are the screen, keyboard, and trackpad with a built-in battery that you can mount a Raspberry Pi to and use that. So it's like a laptop. It just doesn't have a motherboard in it. If you wanted to use an actual laptop to do a process like that, it's going to take a lot of like custom components and things like that. I wonder if TikTok's punishing me for contacting support and asking them, how do I stop having my lives restricted because you guys think that it's oh, what's it called? Like reposted content. I'm live talking to an audience and they're just like, "No, this is unoriginal content." I contacted support twice about it because TikTok doesn't tell you when they reply to a support ticket. So you have to go in and check frequently. And like they're just like, "Oh, we don't see any restrictions on your account right now." And I'm like, "Yes, I'm asking about, do I use Linux on anything?" Yeah, sure. I use it to mute your account because you're spamming my chat. Try again next time and don't spam. Um, is Ducky Script technically a new language. It's a scripting language because it's not a programming language. It's specifically for scripting things. As a PC gamer, is it worth it getting an Xbox Series X? I have an Xbox Series S because I don't need the super high end graphics. Um, and I love it. Like, I prefer having a one button solution for gaming than like my Windows desktop. I primarily game on Windows these days, but having a one button solution, especially for those exhausting days where I'm like, I've worked on too many computers, I need to go sit down and ignore everything that's breaking. How should you pick your tech career? You should pick the thing that you enjoy most. It's one of the reasons why I tell people to have a home lab because you can test a lot of different things out in a home lab and then find what you actually like and then go into that career. Is that a Flipper Zero? No, I don't know what you're talking about. Do I like Hackintosh? No, it's a pain in the butt. I've run a couple Hackintoshes. I've run physical and virtual Hackintoshes. It used to be like a lot better, especially in the Intel days, but because you're no longer on Intel, it's a lot more annoying. What's better for a beginner, pre-built or custom built? Pre-built, especially right now. Uh, like having a company build a computer, they're going to get a better price for those parts, so you're actually going to get it at a little bit of a discount um, than if you had built it yourself through most like companies. I mean, even like Micro Center, like getting parts through them, you get a better deal. Even their custom builds, you get a better deal. Um, just because of how bad the market is right now. Why did I switch to Parrot OS Security Edition? For one thing, Kali Linux went through a similar thing that Backtrack did, where it wasn't getting updated frequently enough, and there were some new things that had come out that would really help. And so a lot of people tried looking for other solutions, and that's why a lot of people switched. I went over to Parrot because the original version of Parrot OS Security Edition had a feature where if you went into like the system um program list and you hovered over any program, it would tell you what that program was used for. Like more specifically than breaking it down for like Wi-Fi, uh password cracking, like it would give you an actual description of what that thing was used for. PC always hot, although clean. What do you mean your PC is hot? Like PCs generate heat. Is Parrot OS free? Yes. Yeah, Parrot OS I think is underrated. I like it. It has like some Ubuntu and Pop OS vibes. I mean, isn't it built off of? Isn't it a derivative of Ubuntu? Oh no, it's just Debian based. I thought it was one that was a derivative of Ubuntu. Thoughts on Micron and Crucial? I loved Micron for a very long time. They were one of my favorite computer and part companies, but they have made really, really terrible decisions. Um, can you make your own Flipper Zero device, but with more features, or is it time consuming? It's time consuming. You can definitely make your own Flipper device with a bunch more features. I mean, that's just a computer at that point. That's why the Flipper One is like there is a bug flying around me right now. That's why the Flipper One is pretty much a computer. Like that's how they've described it. Is it's a cyberdeck computer. Why did I switch to Parrot? I already answered that. Weren't you the one that asked that? I mean, at this point, like Parrot and Kali Linux are fairly interchangeable. It's more a matter of preference. Fedora versus Kali? I have not really used Fedora. Opinion on overclocked CPU with stock cooler? Oh, you want to make your computer cry? We're just taking it to the torture dungeon now. What's the best temperature for a PC? It depends on if it's air cooled, if it's water cooled, what's it, like how intense of a system you're running, if it's actually going like if it's idle or if it's actually processing stuff. Like there's a lot that goes into that. Usually you want it around 70 degrees or under. Like let's see, what is mine running at right now? Mine is currently running at 43 degrees roughly. Which is still like 120 Fahrenheit, right? Yeah, 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Still very hot, but yeah. Is it worth it to switch to Parrot OS from Kali? It's that one's just a matter of personal preference at this point. Like there's not a lot of difference between the two. I feel like I need to put the except for AI topics back up on my thing. Yeah, I knew Kali was Debian based. I honestly thought Parrot OS was Ubuntu based, even though Ubuntu is a derivative of Debian. Um, but yeah, no, they're both just Debian based. Um, Mac OS is Linux based, right? No, it's Unix based, which is very like it's very similar, but slightly different fork. Pretty much like Linux, like both of them come from the same root, but Linux went a little bit this way and Mac went that way. Like they're extremely close. They're cousins. That's pretty much how I describe it. What's my general opinion over MacBooks and Mac OS and MacBooks? I like them. I didn't used to. Honestly, I love my MacBook. It's it feels like closer to a one button solution for like a laptop or a desktop. It's just it just works and it's robust and I run into less issues. Granted, it's less compatible with some things that I want to do, but just the fact that it works so well, especially if you have any other Apple products like an iPhone, it just the ecosystem is nice. Is Snapdragon a bad choice for a laptop? I am not a fan of the Snapdragon processor, but I'm probably wrong in that opinion. I'm going to be so for real. Like, I just, yeah, I went into the store and I wanted to see what the current state of Microsoft Surface tablets was because I have my Surface tablet and at some point I would love to upgrade to a new Surface tablet. But all of them were Snapdragon and I'm like I would rather have an AMD processor than anything else. I don't really want a mobile processor even though like that's what's running in the MacBook. I there's something that just I don't mesh with for some reason. It's probably a dumb personal opinion that I need to update, but haven't yet. What's the orange thing on my desk? That's a Flipper Zero. Opinions on OpenBSD. It's very useful and very customizable for a lot of different things. I don't know what else to say about OpenBSD beyond that. Like, you're studying AI engineering at 30. Is it too late? Not really. I know quite a few college students who are in their 30s, like going into a new tech career. Would I recommend buying a MacBook for cloud cybersecurity? I mean, considering most of your work would be in the cloud, you have less issues with compatibility as far as tech careers go. And if you want like a lightweight, decent running laptop that like I have this thing in my bag for days on end, and then I pull it out and it like the battery's still charged. There's sometimes I'll leave it in my bag for a week and then the battery's finally dead. But yeah, it just works. Someone said Mac versus ThinkPad. ThinkPad. I prefer ThinkPad over Mac, but I really like Mac. I like if I have to choose between Windows and Mac, I prefer Windows because of compatibility and usability on a lot of things. Do I hate the fact that Intel-based Macs aren't supported anymore? Yeah, like it's kind of a downer, but at the same time, I do like the uh, Apple silicone chips. They run fairly decently. I have no clue why your system would be stuttering in 4K. I passed the exam. I got a trophy. Yay! Someone asked between a Samsung phone and a OnePlus phone. Samsung. Okay, most people are asking me about like part combos, and I do not give opinions on part combos. Laptop or iPad? Laptop. Like if I'm going with a tablet, I'm going with something like a Microsoft Surface because I have more compatibility on there, as well as also having the benefits of it being a tablet. I have my Microsoft Surface in my bag, and I use it frequently. Why Samsung? Because of Samsung Dex, hands down the best feature on a phone. Do I think in 10 years we can't make CPUs any better? At the form factor they are, we will not be able to make CPUs better than we're getting very close to the limit because it's an actual limit that is based in physics. We would need something different to be making CPUs out of than what we are right now. What do I know about Graphene OS? Not a ton. I've used it a tiny bit. Apple or Android? Android, hands down. I love my iPhone, and I love how nice the Apple ecosystem is in a lot of ways. Especially as a creator, I film on an iPhone, and I like being able to just send the files over to my laptop. Um, like 2 years ago, isn't it? Like 2.5 years ago now, almost. Yeah, it's like coming up on 3 years. Dang. Ugh. Um, when I went to New York, is it 3 years? No, it's 2 years. Wow. Okay, I almost had that. I almost made myself feel really sad on how long ago that was. Um, but coming up on 2 years when I went to New York, I like got on the plane and I was just I had my phone, my iPhone, and I had it transferring all of the videos over to my laptop, and then I stored them on external drives, backed up all the data, and then was able to clear off my iPhone so I could get more footage. Like that is just so nice. Have I ever tried to do reverse engineering? I've done reverse engineering when it comes to software, and I've done reverse engineering when it comes to engineering, like physical, mechanical engineering, and robotics. Yes, I've done both of those. What laptop should you buy for battery life? MacBook Neo is a very good choice because the MacBook battery life is better than I think most uh, Windows laptops. Someone asked what GPUs are better. If you go onto my site under tips and links, there is a link to GPU benchmark. You can compare both those GPUs and see which one is actually better and why it's actually better. Yeah, getting iPhone files onto a PC is a nightmare. I use a program called Send Anywhere because I have to frequently offload my video files onto my PC. Like when I'm out and about, I use my MacBook. When I'm at home, I use my PC. What time is it for me? It is almost 4:30. Also, FYI, anyone over on TikTok, at the hour mark, I will no longer be live on TikTok, but I'll be continuing the live stream on the other two platforms. FYI. Um, Someone impregnated their PC. What do I do? Uh, take care of it lovingly and raise it right. AMD hands down, yeah. Same opinion here. How hard is it to make a cyber deck? Not that hard. I know a few different content creators that have like tutorials how to do it. I just don't find a need for a cyber deck. I like if it's a cool thing to sit on your shelf, cool. I feel like that's a waste. I just don't get the cyber deck craze that's going on. Why is Ryzen so hyped? Because it's a really good CPU line. How do you learn Python? There are plenty of YouTube tutorials that you can follow along with and program. And then as you learn a little bit of Python, you can start moving into like looking at other people's code that they post online for free and learning from their code or deciding what you want to do and starting to figure out, okay, I need to build this out. How do I build this part, and this part, and just working down the list. How long does it take to learn Python fully? It depends on the person. Your BIOS recognizes your hard drive, but Proxmox GUI doesn't. Is there might be a setting in your BIOS that is disabling that drive? That would be my guess. I don't know any reason why it wouldn't be showing up in Proxmox outside of that though. You look like someone. Yeah, I look like the bearded IT guy. Is a VPN worth it? Not really, in my opinion. Like, I have a VPN in my home that I connect to when I'm out of the house. And that's the most that I need. Unless like there's a TV show that I can only watch in another country, then I'll get a VPN for like the month that I'm going to be watching that show. Um, do I think Apple will be the first company to reach the limit? No. Um, AMD Nvidia and Intel are most likely going to be the ones that reach the limit. Like Apple Apple chips are good for how little power they require for what they do. They're not good at being the top of the line CPU, like the most power in a CPU. Yeah, a lot of people have talked to me about CyberDex, and like I know a few people. I'm just like, yeah, that would be a good project for you, but for the most part, like I don't understand it at all. Like I know so many people are just like, yeah, I want to make a CyberDex that's like a fully functional computer that I can just put on the shelf and it looks pretty. And I'm like, you do realize you can do that without the computer part, right? Like the housing is the pretty thing you're going to look at that point. It kind of feels like the people who put a ton of RGB work into their case and then their computer case sits on the floor under their desk. I'm just like, that feels like a waste. What's my opinion on the Steam machine? I honestly think it's a great one button solution, and it's a decent price for it. Like that form factor, the fact that it's a one button solution, yeah, the price is worth it. Yeah, if you're going to use the CyberDeck daily, then there is actually a use case behind it. There's just so many people who don't have a use case for it, and I'm just like, why? Why are we doing things without a use case? How close are desktop and laptop GPUs when it's given enough power? Most of the time, laptop GPUs are a mobile version of that GPU, so they are not as powerful as the desktop version, and it's partially so that they don't heat up as much. Your laptop is overheating to 100 degrees Celsius. Any tips? The fact that it's getting it, how are you seeing that it's getting to 100 degrees Celsius? Well, the main reason I ask how you know it's getting to 100 degrees Celsius is because usually most systems cut power once it gets above 90 degrees. So the fact that your computer is staying on to show you 100 degrees Celsius is concerning because usually over 90 degrees you start entering the danger zone of causing physical damage to the CPU. Which is worse, C++ or Java? Java, hands down, every single day. Is a hard disk drive still good in 2026? Yeah, it's good for large file storage. Games that don't require high end speed for storage work fantastically on a hard disk drive. Like, I have so many Minecraft mod packs on a hard drive because I love Minecraft. Why do so many people have overheating issues? Because a lot of people worry about their thermals. Not everyone who comments in my comments actually has an overheating issue. I get quite a few people who don't realize that their computer is running perfectly normal temps. They usually compare it to like a video by Linus Tech Tips who does like custom water loops and they're just like, yeah, we got the thermals down to 20 degrees Celsius and it's running perfectly. And then they're like, my thermals are at 50 degrees Celsius. That must mean my computer's dying. And it's like, no, you just don't know what the normal thermal ranges are. For your laptop, clear out the fans, double check that there's nothing blocking the fans or the heat sinks. And if the thermals do not improve after a thorough cleaning, then you might need to replace the thermal paste on the heatsink. Yeah, I have a i5 in my main desktop, and I'm kind of regretting it. I wish I had found an i7 or an AMD processor. what phone do you need for college? Whichever one works for you. There's a lot of phone options, and that one is like, I recommend Samsung phones, but yeah, there's not like a requirement for a phone for college that I know of. If you change your 3DS storage card, will you lose your mods? I do not know. I've never modded a 3DS. Should we learn how to use Linux? If you're in tech, I highly recommend learning how to use Linux because it is a very useful tool for a lot of different tech things. How many FPS in Warzone with specific parts? How would I know? I'm not able to test those specific parts in Warzone. What type of Samsung phone? That is whatever one you want. I like That's a really weird question. Like, any tips for a kid to make money in IT? The tip I usually give to people is if you have someplace near you that you can get like used computers from, uh, get used computers for cheap that need to be repaired a little bit, and then resell the computers once you get them up and running. Granted, right now it's a little bit harder because getting new parts like RAM and SSDs is a lot harder, but that's usually what I recommend for people, especially starting out. Um, Also, trying to work with an MSP. If you can find an MSP that you can like intern with at like a low cost, that's another great way for working in IT and like making money, even though you're just starting your career, even especially if you're in like high school. That's a good option. Yeah, recycling centers have computers sometimes, but usually thrift stores are where I recommend people go looking for computers if they want to test fixing computers and things like that. RAM prices are extremely horrible. Like, it is astonishing how bad RAM prices are right now. I Yeah, it's the reason I'm closing my shop because I can't like continue waiting for RAM prices to get better. Maddie, did you just have a stroke? What's my opinion on the RX 9070 XT versus the 5070 Ti? I don't have an opinion between those two. Like, if you want to know which one works better, there is GPU benchmark in my links. Your computer is freezing, but you don't know how to describe it. I don't know if I would be able to help you with it if you don't know how to describe it. Someone just came in and said Gemini. Or did they say other stuff before that? Oh, they're just like naming different AI tools. Okay. Do I think the Ryzen 7 9800 X3D is worth the extra dollars from the 780 or 7800 X3D? How much more is it? I told you about my audio interface. You have a Ryzen 5 1400. That's a fairly low end processor. That's a very low end GPU at this point. Your RAM is fairly okay. Like 16 gigabytes RAM isn't terrible. I feel like your system is not up to snuff for what you are doing. Ooh, a sysadmin just joined the chat. How's it going? How many times do I click the follow me button in an hour? I mean, more and more as we get closer to when the TikTok stream's going to end. Because in 24 minutes, there will not be a TikTok stream, but there will be a stream on 2 other sites. Only the first 2 hours of me streaming is on TikTok. And if we don't have a lot of people asking questions on like YouTube and Twitch, we'll pop into like Jackbox or something like that and hang out. I don't mind playing games for a couple hours, talking to people online if they have a few questions. I prefer answering a lot of questions, but if I only have a few, then yeah. Okay, the person in Twitch chat is talking about how their motherboard fried their CPU. I just had one of those instances where I should have trusted my gut and ordered both or recommended replacing both a CPU and motherboard because normally my policy used to be that I recommend if the CPU or the motherboard is borked, replace both of them just because a lot less headache and there are some weird issues where if there's quite a few issues with motherboards and CPUs where if they have an issue they cause an issue with the other component as well. So I just have people replace both of them. But I've been told so many times that I'm wrong and then I'm just like, okay, I'll change the policy back. Both times I've gone with the policy of we'll just replace the motherboard because it seems like the CPU is the thing that instead. Both the components were the ones that had issues. Like every time I get reminded that I need to do both. You had a fan boot looping the PC? How did you have a how did a fan go so wrong that it was boot looping the PC? Is the 4070 still going to be good in 2030? Honestly, at that point the 4070 will still be good. It's just going to be a lower tier GPU like the 1080 was like a year ago or a year and a half ago. Like it's close to its way out, but it's not at its way out, at least my opinion. How hard is it to make a Flipper Zero from a Raspberry Pi? I feel like that would be a massive headache because you're going to have to use GPIO for a button sensor, RFID, sub gigahertz, sub, what is it? Isn't it? Yeah, just sub gigahertz. Um, NFC, infrared is going to be a pain in the butt. And then having extra GPIO for more stuff. Like, just get a Flipper Zero if you want a Flipper Zero. What GPU should your friend buy with a €200 budget? Have your friend save up for a better GPU. What GPU would I recommend to upgrade from the 3080? I don't know. People think I know hardware way more than I do. Usually when I like have to replace hardware or upgrade hardware for a customer, I'm researching for like an hour. Um, let's see, 3080. It's gonna be a good upgrade from a 3080 in the AMD range. My normal site is not giving me a good upgrade option for that. How do you fix stick drift? Drift Guard is the name of the program. It works best with Xbox controllers, specifically like Xbox controllers made by Microsoft, not like third party Xbox controllers, but like actual controllers made by Microsoft that are for the Xbox. Those are going to be the ones that work the best with Drift Guard, but it's usually able to work with other ones. It updates the firmware in the controller so that it better centers the thumbstick so that way it's not dealing with the drift as bad. Okay, I'm glad Maddie was able to take over that one a little bit because I'm looking for like an upgrade option from that GPU. And I'm getting distracted trying to answer other questions. Um, you have the new Steam controller or the OG Steam controller? I just realized my OG Steam controller is probably still sitting on the floor right by me. Is programming still worth it? Of course. I have so many tabs open right now. Let's see. Okay. What server GPU do I recommend? I don't usually recommend a server GPU. I don't do anything with AI until the bubble pops. Um, because AI is driving me nuts, and most of the stuff is just annoying because of the greed and everything like that. Um, I I'm trying to remember if Storage Reviews has released like what GPUs they recommend because they might actually have a recommendation for a server GPU for what you're looking for. Until what bubble pops? Until the AI bubble pops. Until it is no longer used as a massive investment for companies. Once it's like more just technology that we have instead of like this weird investment thing like they do with everything, then I stay away from AI for the most part. Your LEDs won't work on your PC. Have you tried installing a separate RGB controller? Because like sometimes it's easier to just have a separate RGB controller than the one built into like your motherboard and things like that. Let's find out what message I just got. I had people texting my repair shop. Of course, TikTok's already open on my phone. Oh, come on. Let me see my notification. Okay. Let's look at what other questions people have. Yeah, you can also check your RGB pins to see if there's anything wrong with them. But based off of what they were talking about, they've replaced a lot of parts to get it working. And so I feel like that would have fixed any of those type of issues. Also, for anyone watching on TikTok, FYI, TikTok stream ends in about 15 minutes. So hop on over to the other ones if you want to continue chatting and things like that. And also if you want to hang out and play games. It all depends on how many questions I get. If things slow down, then I pull up games and play things like that. I have games that have been sent to me by developers that I've been having fun with. That's also a really good question. If you flip the pins upside down on the RGB, they don't work properly. I have not worked on any Lenovo LOQ devices yet, but based off of the fact that it seems like it's just the new version of their Legion line, makes me happy. Like I like their Legion line. Favorite firewall brand? I don't think I have one currently. I've worked with a few, but not sure if there's one that I actually like all that much. Is building a PC for the first time ever in a compact dual chamber case gonna be difficult for me? Yeah. Especially if you're doing a dual chamber case that, like, I kind of wish, in all honesty, I wish there was a good case for beginners where it was, they used to have cases like this, and I loved them, where everything that the motherboard mounts onto can come out of the case. So like the entire back side of the case comes off and pulls out the entire motherboard mount so that you have a test bench, because your first time building a computer, you should be building a computer on a test bench because you're more likely to mess something up your first time, and having it on a test bench type like layout makes it so much easier for you to go, oh, I just need to change this and quickly do it. Where if it's in a case, you're working around a lot of issues and parts and things like that. That's why, like most videos, people will tell you to build your computer, like your motherboard, on the actual box, test the motherboard and everything like that before putting it into the case. I wish you could just have a test bench where you just slide it into the case after you're done. I know there's still cases that do that today, but it's exhausting. This is your first time watching me. What sort of videos do I make? I usually try to make tech education videos. I took a lot of time off because of last year, but now I've been getting back into it, and I have a couple videos recorded. I'm gonna re-record one, re-recording the video for that, because I want it to have a different feel. I want to actually put a lot of work into that one. Will I ever play Phasmophobia? I used to play Phasmophobia a lot. I love Phasmophobia. If I have people to play with, like if I can convince some of my friends who also stream to play Phasmophobia, I would love it. Oh, I've also played it in VR. It's so much fun in VR because you have everything on your belt down here. It's like, okay, I have this. Like, that's how it feels. Which is better, ROG Ally Z1 Extreme or Steam Deck? I want to say the ROG Ally Z1 is better on performance. I prefer the Lenovo version, the Lenovo Legion Go 2, or isn't it Go 2 now? Um, I can't remember the exact name now. But I think they have a new one coming out. I love the Lenovo Legion one because of one simple thing: the controllers come off like on a Switch. And so you can use one as a mouse, like it has an adapter to become like a mouse where your hand is like holding it like a joystick. Fantastic design. I love that so much. But like, yeah, I want to say the ROG is better than the Steam Deck. Granted, I like the Steam Deck just because it is such a good one button solution computer. Yeah, if you are watching my stream and it is super late at night, go to sleep. You can leave my stream on while you sleep and just turn the volume down. That gives me more watch time, and that's kind of the main thing I'm going for on YouTube right now. Can I send you a 3060, please? I don't even have a 3060 myself. For any of you over on TikTok that do not know, I am still answering questions, but I am going to be turning off the TikTok stream in 9 minutes. So anyone that still has questions, that wants to get questions answered, there are two other places that you can go. You can go to the red app or you can go to the purple app. Both of them I am live on right now, and you can ask your questions there. At this point, I'm mostly just going to be answering questions from those two platforms until we hit the hour mark, and then the TikTok live stream is going to be kaput for the rest of the day. And then I will be back on Tuesday. So again, if anyone wants their questions answered, hop on over to one of the other two platforms. Yeah. Okay. Someone asked, do I think GTA 6 is going to be any good or bad because the GTA 5 writers and developers are gone? I think it's going to have a very different feel. They're going to strive. I get the feeling that they're going to do what a lot of like games like Saints Row, uh what's there's one with crime in the name. And I can't remember that one. But like the different like open city games kind of do where the next game they're just like, well, we don't want to go full 100% what the previous game was at the end of it with DLC and everything like that, but we don't want to start people back where it was at the very beginning before we added that. We're going to go like 50% in between. Oh, Watch Dogs is another one that did that. And so it kind of makes it so like every game is a little bit worse because they don't realize that the build up helped a lot, and it also kind of defined their path as they went through. So yeah, why can I not remember the it has Christopher Walken in it. um let's see, I want to just give me like a list of GTA clones. True Crime, that's it. True Crime is the name of the game. And GTA even made fun of it because in I want to say GTA 4 they started calling the waste management company True Grime because of it. Yeah. What is my dream PC in any situation? A low profile, high spec desktop with a decent AIO. Like just a good robust system. Like I don't need top of the line, just decent enough for it to last like a decade. Future of cloud security? I don't I don't know. I feel like it would be the same as what it is now. I think we've gotten to a point where cloud security like is fairly steady. I don't think unless there's something that's going to drastically change it, I don't see it changing. The best PC is no PC. Invest in Neuralink now. Please don't. I just read a comment. Oh, I really want to do a sleeper build. I have a few cases that would become fantastic sleeper builds, especially ones that have the cool turbo button from back in the day, which the turbo button is actually the opposite of the turbo button, and it's mainly it would just like I want to say like cap your CPU for like games that or system programs that had no actual timing. They just relied on the timing of the CPU, which is horrible. Did someone with a Swedish flag just say I'm their favorite furry? I'm not Barley. What is my dream job now, and what was my dream job when I was a kid? I will be so for real. My dream job as a kid was being a journalist. Because like being a journalist or an inventor, those two were my dream jobs all through growing up. That's why in high school I went into journalism and I actually wanted to become a journalist. But journalism is fairly dead. Like it's hard to be a journalist in this day and age. And I saw the writing on the wall while I was in high school. And then being an inventor, I went into robotics engineering. I work with computers every day. Now my dream job is being what I'm doing right now. Like I love being a tech educator, and that's why I'm putting a lot of eggs in one basket and hoping it hatches. Because I would love to be able to do this stuff. Where I talk to people and explain technology and explain tech concepts that people don't understand. Because I can usually learn tech concepts way faster than other people I found out. When I was in college, I was a tutor for a lot of people who were going through the same classes. And so now I do this and I love it. Sleeper builds are bad though because of almost non-existent airflow. That is why you do a sleeper build and you modify the case in ways that you can't tell that the case has been modified, but give it enough airflow to actually work. Um, is it bad letting your PS5 stand up on its end? Yes, it's bad to let your PS5 be in the vertical mode. Should be in horizontal. I know you didn't ask more than is it bad for your PS5, but that's usually the question. You should have your PS5 laying down. What's the normal temp for a laptop GPU when gaming? Yours is at 85 degrees. Is that a normal temp? Sadly, yes. Like once you get a few degrees closer to 90, then you need to be worrying because once it gets to 90 degrees, it can cause damage. But yeah. Oh, my nose is running. So, anyone that is left on TikTok, we are coming down to the final countdown. You have a minute and a half before the TikTok live stream goes down, and everyone will need to be on one of the other two platforms. FYI, if you guys did not know, I am on two other platforms. I have now, I am now finally doing the policy I was going to do like 2 months ago. Um, but I am on two other platforms. If you guys want to continue asking questions and hearing my answers to tech questions, I am live on two other platforms that actually prioritize creators. Like straight up, the reason I'm doing this is because the platform that most of you are watching me on right now does not prioritize creators and kind of screws over creators. So, yeah. What can you do if your Xbox Series S is slowly what? What is the best phone of 2026? I want to say Samsung S26 Ultra. Isn't that one that isn't that the newest one for that one? Ever thought of automating that YouTube and Twitch promo button? Yes, I am working on automating that one. Um, instead of having to reach up here every single time and hitting the button and missing the button sometimes. My first step though is I am swapping out this controller that I use with my actual Stream Decks. I have two Stream Decks, and so I need to use one here because this does not integrate with OBS that well. It uses the OBS network API, and so it struggles sometimes. I need to look into more like automation stuff for stuff like that. It's one of those things. I full blunt honesty, I wasn't sure if I would be able to stream like I am right now. Because for one thing, going for 4 hours, 3 days a week feels like a lot. Especially on top of everything else I'm doing. But like now is my time to try to automate things and get things working better, especially because for one thing, Twitch, like I reached out to Twitch and said, "Hey guys, I'm supposed to be an affiliate. I have affiliate access, but when I open up earning pages, it's just like, yeah, you're not an affiliate." So I contacted them, they instantly fixed it. And because of that, like I've like some of you are here from TikTok, but there are people who join on Twitch who find it organically at this point. So yeah. But speaking of Twitch and YouTube, for anyone that is over on TikTok, now is the time to go over to the other sites. You can find links to my pages on my website, beardeditguy.com. It has the links for everything. Go over to either YouTube or Twitch if you want to continue asking questions, because I am calling it for the TikTok live stream. You guys have been fantastic over on TikTok, but if you do not come over to the other platforms, you won't be able to ask any more questions. It's going to be sad. So if you guys have any more tech questions, head over to YouTube and Twitch right now. You guys got like 5 seconds before my stream goes away. I'm clicking the button. Bye, TikTok. You guys are great. I will see you guys on Tuesday. Okay, everyone else on the other platforms, how are we all doing now that all of them are gone? You guys don't get to see the chat spam as much because I'm no longer live on those platforms. But now you guys can ask questions and honestly, spitball anything. Any random questions you guys want answered, I don't mind answering at this point. And worst case scenario, if I don't have a lot of questions, I can also play games. That is kind of the way things are going to go for the most part for a while, because I am trying to build up getting people over onto the other platforms. If you guys didn't know the behind the scenes of how these things work. What phone would I currently recommend for casual use if switched from an iPhone? Motorola has some really good phones. Like, I praise Samsung a lot, and I love Samsung phones. They are my favorite. Motorola has some really good ones. My main phone is Motorola. Um, and then on top of that, Samsung has just all around all levels of decent phones. 2000s era PC building or late 2010s. I really like, there's some things that I miss about early 2000s PC building. I think one of the things I miss the most is the front like CD drive ports, because there were so many other things that you could put in there as well. I have a box with a bunch of fans for the front panel where you would have a CD slot. You just put the fan in there as instead, and it's 3 fans side by side. And it just gives a lot more airflow through the entire system. That's what I had. My original Minecraft server that I ran had that. And I loved it so much. It kept that server so much cooler than normal. Hey, my partner is awake. I need to figure out what movie we're going to watch tonight. Yeah, I love, and also one of the things I genuinely miss that is not a thing in computers anymore is like, remember when GPUs used to have like an anime character on them? I miss that so much. Also, really quick, I need to restart. Oh, excuse me. I need to restart my chat aggregator on my streaming computer because that was loud. It is not pulling Twitch chat on my streaming computer. I have it on my like side computer right here, but I don't know why. I've never okay, I started watching Pacific Rim like years ago, but I've never actually watched Pacific Rim. And I feel like I'm kind of missing out, but like that one that one gave me the same vibes as like Avatar, and I was never really a fan of James Cameron's Avatar. I'm going to freely admit that one because when he first started like talking about that movie heavily, I was going into 3D animation, like studying it, and every time he talked about it, it just felt so it felt like a rich person talking about gaming. Like when you have that rich person who's just like, I built this computer. I got all of the top of the line parts and I got the most expensive computer you could ever get. That's how it felt listening to James Cameron talk about 3D rendering. Because he's just like, yeah, we spent so much money on all these computers so we could have the top of the line 3D rendering. I'm like, you can still have that rendering. It just takes more time. Like that's the main thing. It's just he wanted to do it quickly. Welcome to bearded rants about random movies. Cybersec red teaming distro or build your own from the ground up. Honestly, anytime I've worked cybersecurity, I've used a pre-made distro and just customized it after installation because like Parrot OS, Kali Linux, both of them are phenomenal. Um, and so if there's other things you want on top of that, like because I mainly work with Wi-Fi Pineapple, at least when I did cybersecurity, there were tools that I wanted on top of that that were not in there by default, and so I would have them at the ready the moment I finished installing the operating system. It like yeah, you can build your own from the ground up, but that is so much more work to do when there's already tools available. Also, I'm just now finding out how easy to open this SSD is. It's just like clips holding it together. I can close Core Temp now. Let me see what games I was going to pull up. What's my preference between Parrot and Kali? I prefer Parrot, and like, there's no logical reason for me to prefer Parrot over Kali at this point. It's just personal preference more than anything. What are my thoughts on rumors about Pacific Rim 3? If it's a prequel, like I know a decent chunk of the story of Pacific Rim. If it's a prequel, that is awesome. Like a prequel would be so much better because like especially when it comes to sci-fi, I like the stories that are closer to our reality than further away. And so I like the idea of having the middle ground between the Pacific Rim movies and some like our current day. Yeah, Parrot OS is very decent, very robust. So is Kali. Like there's no real negatives to Kali that I can think of at this point. There have been in the past, but like they fixed their negative stuff. And also Kali Linux still has NetHunter, which is I love NetHunter and I wish they would like do a updated version, but like that type of tool is so powerful. Having like a phone or a tablet that is fully Kali Linux and has a ton of the tools that Kali Linux has, it's phenomenal. I use that for multiple audits. Okay, anyone have an opinion on what type of game I should play? I mean, I have actually I'll play this one. I have this one from the developer. They sent it to me early. Um FYI. Ooh, I love Payday 2, especially VR mode of Payday 2. It's so much fun. I want to start a new game. Can I like start up a new playthrough? There we go. Okay. This game was legitimately sent to me by the developers. Let's see if we can pull up the store page for it. Super weird automation roguelike or roguelike. I genuinely have been enjoying this one. Um, I also have invites to the playtest for this one. Do I think modding in DLC that's locked behind a paywall is cheating? Like, if it's within a year of the DLC coming out, I feel like that's really messed up. But if like for a game, if it's like been multiple years and they still keep the price the same, or they do the horrible thing of, yeah, it was a pre-order only thing, I'm just like, yeah, go for it. Like, it depends on how decent of a company the company is being. Like, does that make sense? Because there's companies that are just really toxic about how they do DLC. So, like, being a jerk to decent companies, I'm not a fan of. But, like, being a jerk to companies that are horrible, yeah, I don't mind that. Oh, yes, let's upgrade their damage. I do not want to start my expedition. I want to go around and upgrade stuff really quick because I have a bunch of points I can use right now. What is this? Ooh, increase the worker count. Yeah, no, like Payday 2 is a good example. Like they make sure to always have sales and like the DLCs aren't really necessary to play that game. That just gave me so much more power having that stuff unlocked. I might go up and get the final thing in his unlocked. I really like roguelike games like this where you can upgrade stuff beforehand. Increase my damage, increase my maximum health. I want more movement speed. And I want more damage. Okay, my cat's gonna get mad at me if I don't let her out. I will be right back. Yeah, no, like the art in this game very much gives Don't Starve type vibes. And then, like, the best way I figured out how to describe the gameplay is backwards tower defense. Like, it feels like tower defense, but backwards. Wood plank, cannonball. So you get to pick which, like, path you're going to go down. I think I want the wood plank one. Let's put it up there like that. So now I've unlocked like these areas that we can go to, and I have to put a robot down on this to power it, and it starts creating workers. What is this creating? Ooh, this is creating tanks. Can I move this? I'm going to put this down here and build it up. Yeah, I need more roguelikes to play. Like, I really like I'm not a fan of pure roguelike. I'm a massive fan of roguelite. Okay, we are going to have you get rocks, and you're going to go over there. And then we're going to put down another start. And it's going to be up here for the wood. I also like how it has it like I like games like this because they teach you like programming mentality because you have like basic flow statements and then I can have like if then statements or just switching loops and things like that. It just oh, I should put the I want two shelves side by side like this because one of these is going to be swords and one of them is going to be shields. And now, if I put down the robots, they will start making those, and these guys will start being equipped with swords and shields. So this guy goes and gets the wood. He brings it down here. If I could move this, it would be nicer to have that closer to the trees, but nope. And then this guy comes with rocks, and he puts them in there. And then if these were at the end here already, what? Why? Why are you putting the rock on? No, you're supposed. Oh, that makes sense. Oh, I didn't have that there. Okay. Welcome to me messing up like basic automation settings. There we go. Now that puts that on there, and that puts that on there, and then they put them on their shelves, and now they're equipping them. Yes, that's what I wanted to see. Oh, and now they have shields. Okay. So now the main thing in this game is these other rooms that I created. Like you have these that allow you to transfer goods between the different areas, and different areas will have different goods. And there will also be bad guys coming from the other areas. As you can see, these guys right here, who are not very happy to see my guys. But whenever you kill one of the bad guys, you get like scrap pieces that you can use as money to buy things. And that's also what you use to build like if I wanted to build a tower here. I think my cat is already meowing to come back in. I want to have two towers next to each other because I played earlier and I got smoked because guys were coming back through. And then they reach the end, take out the big bad boss, and then we get to set up our next area. I think I'm going to do it like that. Yeah, so these guys just go to the end, and if there's nothing at the end, they just deconstruct at that point. But the guys further back split off and go to other areas like this, and then they beat the crap out of the boss. Ah, he spawned guys and he's shooting me. That's not nice. That's not what I want. Ooh, and he spawned another boss at the other thing. Okay, it looks like I need to get more shields being produced. I might need to get more robots working on. I think I need more robots working on this. Because they're a little bit slow. I think next stream I am going to be working on setting up gaming servers because I want to test out Pterodactyl and I want to see how well that works, which means I need to test out gaming servers. And I've been feeling the need to play some more Minecraft server stuff, like building out some servers to do some mod packs that are a little bit more intensive. I also know some Minecraft gamers who like make videos who are looking for servers. I was trying to make one for someone last year and ran into issues because of stuff going on constantly. But now I have a little bit more free time. I'm gonna have a lot more free time at the end of this month, but yeah, I have a little bit more free time right now. Hey guys, there's so many more shields. See if I can go deforest an area and make a lot more of the wood swords. There's a very limited number of items you can have on your character. There we go. Now most everyone should be equipped with weaponry. Oh, that's a bad guy. Let's see if I can take him out so I can use this portal. Yeah, thank you for hanging out, Nomad. I figured after I ended TikTok stream, I would not have a lot of people over here. I don't mind it because it lets me have some time to relax. But if anyone asks tech questions, I am 100% going to answer. So my goal is just slightly pushing more people to convert over to the other platforms so that I actually have more sustainability. Oh, I found a store. I want that. I want that. Yes, better attack damage for the towers. Now if I go to this boss, there should be... Oh, there's so many remnants of bad guys. Now, let's see. I think I want this one for the shape of it. Slime, electric sword. That's a boss. I want the boss as far away from me as possible right now, but still near enough by that I can get to him easily. Let's just like massively layer up this corner. And then run in, punch the guy twice, and run away. Oh, is this one of the ones that can't actually like really hurt me? I can just stand under him and like he can kill my underlings fairly easily, but he can't go after me. So oh nope, he's attacking. Nope, nope, nope. Get away, get away, get away. Lasers, lasers. Ah! Oh, I didn't actually build these. There we go. That's one built. No, get away from me. Don't hurt me. I need like a health pack. I don't know how to heal. Could be very bad. I don't know how to heal. Okay, my stopgap is working right here. Like these two towers taking a lot of their health down means I can fight them easier. I want to see if my guys are actually going to be able to beat them back here. It's earning me a lot of credits that I can use for stuff, so that's actually really good for me. Ah, no, don't shoot lasers at me. Shoot lasers at my minions. I should play Overlord. That's another game I should honestly play on stream because that would be a fun one. Oh, did they pop? Nope, they didn't pop that on me. Ah, they're only halfway through it. Oh, I also have an issue because they're coming from here. Okay, that will give me a lot more security having that knocked out for now. Let me really quick change this to. I'll pull up the name of the game again. Ah, it's not a game I can put on there. I was gonna update the Steam info to or stream info on Twitch to be the correct thing, but nope, not available. Hey, that is enough to buy another upgrade from that person. Now I just gotta remember where that person was. Like over here. Yeah, there we go. Ah, yes, worker robots can carry more. That's what I want right now. Let's see. I have stuff that I can put on here. I have stuff I can put on there. Everything else will go on that shelf for no particular reason. That should be a faster worker, which means I can blow stuff up easier. Oh, battery saver on my laptop just turned on. I should plug that in. And it's 100% going to get mad at me because I'm using slow charging, but I don't care. I'm going to charge you via Type C instead of your normal charger because Type C is more convenient. Now, time to go take out the rest of the bosses. How do I heal? Ooh, I can make shields out here too. Okay, I'm gonna build a shield thing like right here. And a shelf right there. Oh, I found a glitch. Because not all of my guys have been having shields, and I want all of them to have shields. So if I build a shield thing out here, wow, that is a lot of bad guys. Okay, if I do like this, I do like this, and I have this set to that. That goes to there, goes to there, that goes to there, and that goes to there. That is a good loop for Mr. Robot Guy that's going to be here. He's going to create more shields for my guys. And I'm going to drop the random resources I don't need. And my towers that are here are working very well to protect me. Apparently, I can go and shut down the boss right now, which would be very helpful. Ah, no. He's still attacking. Is this guy not attacking anymore? Yay, shut down available on this guy. Oh, crap, I died. Oh, he just got more energy back. No, don't shoot me with your lasers. I would not like to be shot with lasers. Okay, didn't I have like electric swords as one of my options somewhere? Is it down here? Because if I can make electric swords, this. What is this? What is this? Workbench to make. Is that armor? I can go shut down the boss now. Yay! So many more resources. I can build so many more towers. Because I want a tower there, and I want a tower there. This is a good spot that they split off from. Oh, I'm hitting completely the wrong buttons on my keyboard. Trying to figure out why like my guy isn't attacking the way he should. I'm like, oh, it's because I'm not hitting the buttons. Ooh, that gave me this area now. And if I get rid of this guy, that'll make my life a little easier. Also, while I'm thinking about it, give me a second. No. Let me mute this really quick. There we go. Yeah. And now video switch back. Come on. Come on. Last. And now hit. Hit. There we go. That now cleared up this entire area. Now all I have to worry about is this gross area, which is contaminated. There's got to be a way at some point to be able to get rid of the thing. Like, get rid of the bad portals. Hey, I cleared up this area. Now let me go look at the other two areas. Why is there a mean portal block here? Fuck you. Oh, I can definitely do more strikes than that. Okay, I can get like like 6 strikes in before having to run away. That is good to know. That is very useful information. Now, if I put down another thing, it's going to get rid of some of the places I've already been. Ice Spear, Trailside Shop, Cannonball, Big Cannon, Torch. I think I want this one. And I think I want it like that so I can continue having the Ice Spear after this. I legitimately just tried reading that, and my brain just hated everything from trying to read that. Question: has anyone been far even as decided to use even go want to do look more like? I think you need to apologize to my brain for that one. Oh, that hurt. I think I'm gonna have it bring it back here because I want to have them equip it back there. Okay, and if I have a guy back here that is mining the ice crystals and then putting them there, that'd be nice because that would give me more ice crystals. And then I'm going to have another start, which is going to grab from here and put on there as well. Oh, you know what I should do? I should do this. So one there, two that. There we go. Part of the time he's grabbing the crystals, part of the time he's feeding the crystals onto the shelf. I think that is a good use of his skills. Now take out the slime. Get me some more resources before going over to the shop and using up a bunch of those resources. Okay. It is the same time. Oh, really? I think I can do 4 and then I have to run. I want that. I want this. I want Admiral Carp. Damage from towers. Yes, more damage from the robots. And then I want to go up here and find out what this is. Oh, this is another robot making thing. It's going to be gone in a minute. So sad. Wait, what is... Okay, that's a robot maker. That's a robot boss. And coal. I think... I want to put it like that. What is this make? Oh, it's making better shields. Oh, I can upgrade the shields. Yes. That's what I want. Because I can also put the shield maker right there. Okay, we're just going to build out fodder really quick. These guys won't have swords or shields or anything. They are just fodder. Ah, no, bad guys. Ah, no. Let me go through the portal. Let me escape. That's concerning that there's bad guys coming through the portal that way. Oh, it's because they resurrected that guy. No. I cleaned up this area. Okay, I think I'm in love with this game. Like, it's so decent and simplistic, yet, like, it gets more advanced with progression over time. Yeah, I think I'm in love with this game. Sorry, give me just a second. Wanting to see if something works. No, they killed my worker that was here. They killed my cannon fodder worker. Okay, I love the like. This game is just so well made. I like this game a lot. Okay, now where's the other Robo Boss? We have another boss that is up and active, apparently. Electric sword, oil barrel. I'd like to keep the electric sword if possible. Would I be able to rotate it? Oh, I can't put it there. Okay. Because I really don't want the bad guys coming through to here. Because they can do some serious damage if they get through here. I think I bugged it again. Let's see how bad these guys get. Oh my gosh. He just came into the room and just like, hey guys, what's up? Oops. He was gone so fast. The thunky sounds are probably one of the best things in this. And I know people on stream can't hear the thunky sounds as much, but I shut down another robot. I wish I could pick this up and take it with me. I mean, I guess I can go back and start upgrading some more stuff. I can shut down a boss? I'm not going to be able to shut it down in time, but they'll be able to take it down again. Just a minute. Because I'm snagging this slime, getting this area cleared. And then I'm going to go up here. Then I'm going to go find this boss that they have gotten ready for me to shut down. Oh, it's that one over there. Okay. Yeah, they'll be able to get that ready for shutdown again in a second. I think. Unless I missed my chance and we have to... Oh, we might have to... Okay, we're going to have to rebuild that boss and then shut it down. Okay. Boss. Boss. Oh, that's 2 bosses. What if I put it... Oh, I can't put it there. It's like, what happens if it's in a spot where it won't have stuff? Yay, now they'll pass past the spears again. That's kind of what I want. Oh, I'm just like, why am I not seeing bad guys reaching all the way back here? And it's because they'll get hit by the tower. Ah, no. That was very sudden and very tragic. I think I need to get a bomb to put in that and launch. How badly has this been going? Why are they not taking ice spears? Do I have to tell them to like put something down here? Okay, it's just because they have the plank of wood, they're not grabbing the actual ice spears. Which is kind of annoying. Because I want them to grab ice spears. Wait, stop hitting me. Stop hitting me. Okay, we're going to turn off the output for that one. And grab the robots from those two. Am I for or against the Chinese chips getting into the market? I'm for it. Because, like, so the US has a tendency to block outside manufacturers because of the fear that the US has that the outside manufacturers are going to be doing shady things like spying on people. Problem is, every time like they look at statistics of like a country spying on another nation's people using like their technology, it's usually the US doing it to other countries. Like they keep giving examples like, oh, that's why we blocked like routers that aren't made in the US. And it's like, you guys were the ones doing that. So it always makes me laugh when it's like this big concern that just doesn't exist. I didn't put a robot on the first thing that I needed to. We're now getting guys that do not have armament. But they're about to have spears. We're about to see a big shipment of spears suddenly coming in. Yeah, the chip market will be cheaper, especially if like we're able to import from other countries. Like if we're able to import Chinese chips, it'll be a lot cheaper. Oh, I see my mistake. That should be there. That should go to there, and that should go to there. There we go. We're already seeing like cheaper Chinese options for like RAM and things like that. It's just the US has lots of embargoes and restrictions and stupid stuff that makes my work a lot harder. How go the battles at the front lines, boys? So many chips for me to pick up. Num 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 num. I can use this for days. Yes, there's a shop. More runners. Yes, make them faster. Okay, I need to get out of this area because if I don't know what'll happen if I spawn in a new area and I'm in an area that's going to be deleted. Let's find out. Big cannon. So workbench for the upgraded shield. Feel like this one's going to be useless. Oh, it spawned me back at home. Good to know what that will do now. Now let's watch my guys get armored up and like wreck some stuff. Ow! No! Teleport home quickly. Oh, he wrecked a whole bunch of my guys. Okay, I see a slight flaw in my original plan. We're gonna upgrade my plan with more turrets. Because these guys need to be able to get to the spears in order to be effective. Ow. I need to be close by, but I don't need to be in the room where it happens until I can shut that thing down. I can hang out near my turrets for now. Okay, why is spear manufacturing not as quick as I would hope? Okay, I can do another one down here to gather more of the crystal. The crystal will get put on. Is that export? Oh, that's import. I want it to go out. And then I come up here. Is this robot's entire job just that? Okay. I'm gonna put a Speedy Boy on there. He'll grab them from there, and then he'll come down and grab them from there and put them on there. Okay, maybe 2 Speedy Boys. But I want to wait until this one's almost done with its cycle, or halfway through, and then put another Speedy Boy. Speedy Boy! I'm going to do this as 2 separate missions. This is going to go. Oh, come on. Give me the eye. There we go. That thing. To there. And now, Speedy Boy. What do I have revolving around me? I have a crystal. Okay. It is also going to be a Speedy Boy. There we go. There are more. A lot more weapons for me to use. Porsche's on the brink of bankruptcy? That's actually really shocking. Like, Porsche is one of those companies. There's a few companies like that. Porsche is one. What is the one? There's a specific car company that like you only really know about the car company if you have a rich friend who already owns one, and I can never remember the name of the company. Um, but like there's companies like that where it's just like, yeah, this is a very rich person car, and it's just shocking to me when like those companies no longer exist at some point because like usually it's just the people who buy it change instead of like the company goes under. And I felt like Porsche was one of those like indestructible companies like that. They're canceling orders. That's really shocking. Like that they're at that point. Yeah, Porsche feels like one of those indestructible companies. That's so shocking. Okay, good. They were able to hold them back there. I was so worried that they were not going to be able to hold them back right there. That was going to be so bad for me if they couldn't hold them back. Come on, you guys know you want to kill them. You know you want to get them to a point where I can shut them down. Oh, more guys attacked from a different direction. Oh no. I need to shore up my defenses. That was almost very, very bad for me. Because, like, if they got to my main camp, I would be done for. I don't think I would be able to recover from that. Oh, that also makes me worried that, like, stuff up here is hurt. Oh, no, they're still doing okay. There's so many big companies firing a ton of employees lately, and it's like some of them are doing it even for like no reason. Well, the reason is partially because they invested too much into AI and they didn't get the outcome that they thought they would get from AI. Like a lot of companies took a really big gamble on AI and it did not pan out. And so now they're very much going, okay, how do we get back to existing as a company? Have the villains been pushed back enough that I can come join the fray? We will win this day. We will win. We will win it all. Now it's time for the big bad boss. I feel like this is not going to be that bad. Why did I just say that out loud? Why did I just, oh my gosh, why did I just say that out loud? Why did I say it would not be that bad out loud? Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Like I knew I should not have said that, but then I said it. They're at least whittling them away decently right now, it looks like. Okay, yeah, they can't get past like my super defenses. Yes, I got another shutdown. Yeah, no, the Chinese car brands. I have been so impressed by so many of those cars. Like, I think one of my favorite things that I saw on TikTok for a while was people reacting to another creator's video, like a creator who reviews cars. And he's like looking at a car and he's just like, yeah, like this car is pretty good in a lot of its construction. It just feels very cheap. And that's my main issue with it. But that's kind of what you get when you get a car for $3,000. And everyone in the comments is like, what what did you just say? Did you just say 3,000? And it's because like we're not used to other car companies. We're used to the overly bloated ones that we have. I think the US, like, one of the weird things in the US is we're going to keep pushing to not allow cars from other countries, like especially Chinese made cars. And it's just slowly like people are realizing that there are better cars in other countries, especially China, and we're just going to be massively missing out because of it. Yeah. And especially in the US, we're massively overpaying because cars are locked behind um going to a dealership. Like dealerships are one of the really bad things that we have in the US that is just not good. Like the way the dealership model works, it just raises the price for people and oftentimes makes it so cars are inaccessible or unaffordable. I don't want to see a single enemy bot being able to make it past these towers. Yeah, no, we have weird laws in the US that are very like the US has laws in place that show why capitalism in and of itself ends up being bad. I think like that's the best way to describe it. We just show the rest of the world what happens when you have capitalism that is very low regulated. I want to get rid of this bug that's flying around me. The noise. I want to know what the range of my towers are. Excuse me. Yeah, apparently that's too far. I've noticed that this glitch is weird, but not too bad. It goes away when I leave the area, but it leaves this weird shadowy thing here. Should we stop them from building all these towers right by us? Nah, let them build. What can they do to us? We're stronger. Oh, we're getting crushed by all of their towers. I can't actually see where I could build another tower. I know there is one spot left. Oh, I think I got it. We're able to push back the tide. I think my cat wants it. I'll be right back while they work. Also, don't mind me. I'm totally gonna snack on some dill pickle chips. Yeah, no, we definitely need to allow offshore brands, and we need to realize that we're the bad guys. Like, I'll just be fully like open. The U.S. needs to realize that we're the boogeyman that we're afraid of. We're afraid another country is going to act like we do. I say on the day after American Independence Day. Okay, what if I put that there? Can I put that there? And nope. I'm kind of okay with that though. Next stream, I need to make sure you guys can hear this sound because this is this is one of the funnest sounds ever. Hearing all of them attack at once. Right? No, the fact that the USA is just like, yeah, we want to have all of these worldwide events. But if you guys come here for any of the worldwide events, there's a good chance we'll just deport you or throw you in prison. Okay, I think I need to find where the shield is and build out better shields for my guys. Right here. Here is shields. I have stone here, so I could also. Yeah, no, FIFA has been like it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but at the same time, it's fairly bad. Like how the US has been acting with the stuff with FIFA. You literally just came in. You're now back at the door meowing at it? Oh, I grabbed the wrong thing. I'm just like, why will it not let me place it down? Let's see. Okay, there's stone here. I can have a mine stone right there. I literally just let my cat in, and now she's back at the door wanting to go back out. Andy, you just came in. What are you doing? Oh, I forgot to set that rock. And now that will come up here. You want to know the other thing that has been made political for no reason? So, literally, just yesterday, the U.S. celebrated its 250th birthday, and they made the entire thing political and partisan. So, like, they just kind of ruined the whole thing because they don't know how to do things decently. Let's be so honest. Okay, now I need to go back and get rid of the shield at the very beginning. So now they won't have shields. Yeah. No, originally, like about a decade ago, they started planning for the 250th anniversary of the United States. And they started like group that would handle it. They planned it, they like got all the funding, and it was going to be like a massive event where it was a bunch of smaller events coming together to become this big event. And it was supposed to be like no matter what your political affiliation and things like that were, you would feel welcome. Like there was no specific politics to it. And that all completely changed. They decided to change the entire event to make it completely like designed for one political party. Literally last year, the president, when he got into office, created a new group that would plan the new event, and he pretty much had his like contacts be the ones that helped plan it. And so, literally, a lot of people are saying, "Oh yeah, this was a money laundering scheme. He just got a bunch of his friends to get rich." That's how fun it is here. Wait, why are they not getting shields? There we go. Now they're getting shields. Okay. I like how some of them just have a shield, some of them just have a spear. Okay, let's build this. Oh my gosh, my cat wants to go out. How to use Stardesk? What is Stardesk? Is that a program? If so, I've never heard of it. I want to beat this boss because then I figure I'll wrap up the stream after I beat this boss. Okay, I'm still getting crystals imported. It's just not fast enough. Okay, every single chip I pulled out of this bag are like massive. I'm trying to pick up any of the weapons that my guys drop so I can give them back to other people. Another weapon shipment just dropped. How am I not getting enough crystals to really... Okay, new crystal farm. This one to that one in an infinite loop. Mine. Guy to go mine. Crystals exported. And 2 guys on this one. There we go. Did I ever play Dead by Daylight? Yeah, I loved that game. I wasn't very good at it. I only played it for the early days. My ex-boyfriend used to stream it. And he really liked that game. Oh, that's not what I want. I just want this to go there and there. Okay, that should give me some more crystals to use. Let's see how well that works. Oh, crap. Okay, you know what? I'm going to have the crystals go this way. Because they were grabbing the crystals and the shields and just dropping one or the other, whichever one's on top. They were just going yeet. Okay, let's see how shield production is actually going. I missed a part of my process there, so I was not producing shields as quickly as I should be. Okay, that should be a lot better. I think that might actually make it so I turn this tide. There we go. Come here. Come get me. No, come get me. I'm over here. I'm over here. Because if I can distract them long enough, I can get my guys a little bit further ahead. The problem I have right now is they're not able to push forward. They're just able to hold them at bay. It might just be because I do not have enough power to really get them past what they're able to do right now, which is so sad. Like, it's just right on the precipice. What is that? I don't know what that is making. I don't think I'm going to be able to beat them. But I did earn a lot of credits this round, and so that means I can upgrade things and possibly be strong enough to beat them next time. Unless I just want to do this over and over again. It's a legitimate strategy. I wonder if that's close enough for a tower. Oh, it's not able to be built on. Oh, that doesn't help me. Dang it. Gotten smarter. Okay, I think I'm gonna call it there. Thank you everyone who's been hanging out and watching this whole time. So my plan is to keep doing streams like this. Like Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, every single week, I'm going to be streaming. And then after 2 hours, I'm going to turn off the TikTok stream because, like, TikTok isn't helping creators anymore. And so I want to grow, I want to diversify, and that's why I'm here on Twitch. This is why I'm here on YouTube. You guys are awesome. Twitch has been majorly nice to me. And so I think they won me over. With that being said, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. If you want any info on the stuff that I recommend or anything like that, you can go to my website. Takes you to my lovely website. I have the links for things on there. I'm going to be adding more links. I'm currently working on a list of projects that people can do with like Raspberry Pis, ESP32s, and things like that. Like fun projects to help you learn how to do tech and trying to do things that are inexpensive because right now prices suck on stuff. So the more inexpensive we can make it, the more you guys can actually do and learn. But I'm going to head off and thank you guys for hanging out with me. I will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.